FBI Director. I'm so sorry. Kash Patel was in the hot seat yesterday at a Senate budget hearing over reports from The Atlantic that he was excessively drinking on the job. Take a look.
So there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you, is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so. The only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know, the fact-
only person that ran up a
Director
$7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you. You're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually, that's a false statement. Do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
I didn't ask you
that.
that.
Lied to Congress is you.
Do you?
And
I'm not testifying here, sir, and I don't lie. The director of the FBI apparently does not want to answer the question about whether or not it's a crime to lie to Congress, and I find that extremely troubling.
I find it troubling that you lie to the American people every day.
You are a disgrace, Mr. Director.
So, of course, Kash Patel denies all the allegations, but The Atlantic is standing by their reporting. So, you know, what is going on? I mean, I don't, just the whole tone of all of these things just feels so...
It's unseemly.
Nasty.
It's unseemly. He was belligerent, and it is a crime to lie to Congress. It's perjury, 5 years exposure to prison.
The head of the FBI doesn't know that. Where are we at, really?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, ultimately, he agreed, if that senator took the same test, to take an alcohol use disorders identification test. And if you look at the questions, it's a 10-question test. One of the questions is, during the past year, how often have you failed to do what was normally expected of you because of drinking? Well, The Atlantic is reporting that his security detail could not wake him up to go to work because of his drinking. Another question was, during the past year, how often have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking? He should feel poorly about what he did with the U.S. hockey team, right? While he was supposed to be there working on behalf of the government, he was popping bottles with a group of hockey players. And then one of the questions has a relative or friend, doctor been concerned about your drinking or suggested you cut down? I hope he has friends, and I hope they've told him to stop behaving in this manner.
Well, the part that kind of jumps out at me with all of what The Atlantic reported and all that we've heard all the way around.
Which is a credible publication.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also know the hoops everyone has to jump through to get something like that printed. You know, we're living in a time where you better have vetted, and then vetted more before you can print something like that. But again, The Atlantic is reporting this. He's a national security vulnerability.
Yes.
We know we're a target. We always have been. And right now we have a war going on in Iran. China, Russia always have their eyes on us. There are people always trying to infiltrate, divide us, and cause damage, whether it's, you know, online or, God forbid, some kind of attack.
Yeah.
When you have someone that potentially is drinking to this level that he can't even wake up in the morning, and you know, supposedly, that is really terrifying to know that this is the head of the FBI.
His security detail asked for sort of a ramming device so they could
SWAT teams use.
That SWAT teams use so they can get into his room to wake him up to do his job.
Well, and
he denies it.
Is that true of Trump also? Because he's falling asleep too.
He doesn't drink at all, though. He doesn't drink at all.
But for what it's worth,
I know he doesn't drink, but he falls asleep in the middle of a meeting.
For what it's worth, I don't hear a lot of Republicans even defending Director Patel at this point. I think that there's this moment that often comes with Trump's cabinet officials where it is one thing where you're defending him through and through on Capitol Hill, you're performing for the audience of one, but when you start to become the butt of every joke, the president tends to sour on you. We saw it with Kristi Noem.
True.
You couldn't talk about Kristi Noem without hearing about the dog that she allegedly murdered.
Rest in peace,
Everything kind of became unserious with her.
And Pam
I
Bondi.
think SNL also plays a role in this, I want to mention. Jeff Sessions in the first term. Trump soured on him for more serious things, but when he was constantly being parodied as this unserious person, often played by a woman even, that was something that he just kind of soured on him. I feel like this is happening with Director Patel, and it matters in this moment because, to Sarah's point, we're at war with Iran. Iran. God forbid, but the homeland is at a greater risk than it usually is because we are in an active war. We also have major events that the FBI has to secure, like the World Cup happening. We have America 250 events all over the country. You need serious law enforcement officials who aren't distracted by things going on. They're not performing for an audience of one. They're thinking about protecting the homeland.
Trump will give him a pass because his name is Cash.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think the other thing that the Atlantic reported that kind of jumped off for me, and there were 9 sources, was there was a day he couldn't get into his computer, and the first thing he started to tell everyone was, "I've been fired." That is not what runs through my mind when I can't use my computer. So that tells you a little more about what he knows and what's running through his mind, that was right where he went, and he alerted people.
Yeah.
That reel that back in,
Yeah.
and you find out it was just a computer glitch.
I find
We've all been locked out of our
them-
computers and we don't jump to that assumption.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I do.
Right, the badge doesn't work. You're like,
Always,
oh.
I just, the idea that we're in the middle of so many different confrontations.
Yeah.
And we have people, I have no faith. I have no faith in Kash Patel. I have no faith in Pete Hegseth. I have no faith in the people who are running anything. I don't believe in anybody who is running this country right now. And that's what makes me nervous. It's like, okay, well, who's going to take responsibility? The CDC right now. No one is running the CDC. We have this potential virus. And they keep saying, no, there's nothing to worry about. It's like, I don't want to hear that from you because you don't know if there's nothing to worry about.
Well, especially now that we're not involved with the World Health.
Well, we don't. I mean, it
Organization.
just we don't. We have been deballed as a nation. I feel because
very
we are not.
isolationist.
I thought my description was.
Deballed is lovely.
Yes,
I just
it was
didn't know if you
just
meant
clear.
castrated.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing.
Okay.
I don't have them, but I know it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the idea that no one is in charge freaks me out.
I think America still has its basketballs. I just think we have some very struggling leaders right now, and we deserve better.
She went to breast. Those were breasts. She went to breast because she's a new mom. She's nursing. So she's.
Well, I think
yes.
the breasts might serve us better in the universe
Yes.
now than the
More
balls
women.
anyway. So.
But I just think we're on the world stage. I mean, I'm watching him come down those stairs, and I'm seeing all the pomp and circumstance, and I think
In China.
they're,
Yeah.
I'm watching the leader kind of walk with his head this way, kind of going, I gotta be here with him. I have to be, he's here, I gotta be respectful, but, I'm not buying any of this. And that's how people feel around the world, I think. They just don't believe anything we're doing, because nothing we do seems to have any weight.
Seems deeply unserious.
It's deeply unserious, it's deballed, whatever it is, it's not what America should be seen and how we should be seen.